gosh. So do you like pretending to be somebody else?
Yes.
Because it's interesting?
I like making people laugh and stuff like that.
Piaget's theory of cognitive development is based on the belief that a child gains thinking skills in 4 stages: sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. These stages roughly correspond to specific ages from birth to adulthood. Children progress through these stages at different paces, but according to Piaget, they are always completed in order. Cognitive skills including memory, attention, thinking, problem solving, logical reasoning, reading, listening, and more. Cognitive development also helps a child to obtain skills needed to live a productive life and function as an independent adult. Hi, now we proceed to the history of Pioneer. His name was Jean Piaget, a Swiss psychologist and genetic epistemologist. He was born in Switzerland on August 9, 1896, and he was married with Valentine on 1923. And Piaget's observation of his own children served as the basis for many of his later theories. And by the time he was 11 years old, Piaget had already started his career as a researcher by writing a short paper on an albino sparrow. And Piaget continued to study the natural science and received his doctorate in zoology from the University of Neuchâtel in 1918. An overview of his theory: basically, children were often thought of simply as mini adults. Instead, Piaget suggested that the way children think is fundamentally different from the way that adults think.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nurisa binti Muhammad Sifan, and I will be presenting on the first stage of Jean Piaget cognitive theory, which is the sensory motor stage that took place with children from age 0 to 2 years old. So in this stage, infants think with senses and motor movement. Since they have 5 different senses, that is how they discover the concept of object, which is they can know whether things is cold or hot. Okay, so they tend to try to use the method trial and error. So in this stage, children uses their motor skills as the basis of learning. So let's say if something is hot, they know that they have to avoid it for their own safety. Next, cognitive development characterization is divided into 5 different parts, which is the first one, goal-directed behavior, object permanence concept, mental representation, cause and effect relationship, and the last one is coordinated space. Okay, so next I will explain on the phases in sensory motor stage that has 6 total phases, which begins from 0 to 24 months children age. So the first one is reflexes, where children begin to understand surroundings through the reflexes that they experience. So the second one is primary circular reaction, where they tend to understand sensation and schema and have them combined. So the third one is secondary circular reaction that happen from age 4 to 8 months, where they begin to understand that their behavior influences the environment, where we can see that sometimes children begin to do tricks to make their parents happy. Okay, so the fourth one is coordination of reaction from age 8 to 12 months, where they assess surroundings and imitation. They tend to imitate something that receive positive reaction from their environment. So the fifth one is tertiary circular reaction, where they experiment new behavior that they can see and understand from their surrounding. So the sixth one is early representational thoughts from the age 18 to 24 months, where they begin to detect symbols that represent objects that they can see in their surrounding. Okay, so that is all from me in sensory motor stage. So we will proceed to the next presenter.
For the second stage, which is the pre-operational stage, the children aged 2 until 7 years old, which they have this major characteristic. First, they begin to think symbolically and learn to use words and picture to represent objects, tend to be egocentric and struggle to see things from the perspective of others, and getting better with language and thinking, but still tend to think in a very concrete terms. Children in this stage learn through pretending, but they still struggle with the logic. They often pretend to be a people that are not, like superhero, princess, and they will use props. Moreover, they struggle with the understanding of the idea of constancy. For example, we divide the clay into two equal pieces. One piece of clay is rolled into a compact ball, while the other one is smashed into a flat pancake shape. They likely to choose the larger one, even though the two pieces are exactly the same size.
Okay, so for the next phase is the concrete operational stage, which begin around the age of 7 until the age of 11 years old. During this stage, children are characterized by the development of organized and rational thinking. In the concrete operational stage, children acquire the basic of logical reasoning and the basic skill of reversibility, dissertation, and other skill of conservation. This is because children have the following cognitive ability. They understand reversibility, where the item can be returned to the original state, that can decenter, where the children can concentrate on multiple dimensions of item rather than just one. Also, they are better in understand identity, such as item remain the same even if look different. That would benefit in improving the classification or categorization abilities, so that children can arrange items along a dimension, understand that categories have subcategories, and relate two objects to each other through a third object. Second, their numerical ability improve and they can perform more complicated mathematical operations. Third, their spatial abilities are better. They are better at estimating time and distance. They can read maps and describe how to navigate from one location to another. In improving the abilities, the children in the concrete operational stage can solve conservation problem. However, children in this stage can only solve problems if they apply them to actual object or event. So for this, their conservation, they refer to idea that things can be the same even if they look different. And another one, according to American Psychological Association, seriation refer to the process of arranging a collection of items in specific orders on the basis of particular dimension. Classification is the ability to identify the properties of categories, to relate categories or classes to one another, and to use categorical formation to solve problems.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, now I will explain about the last stage in the Jean Piaget theories. The last stage is called formal operation stage. In this stage, it begins at approximately 12 years old and lasts into adulthood. The children gain ability to think in an abstract manner by manipulating ideas in their head without any dependence on concrete manipulation. In this formal operation stage, the children tend to reason in more abstract, systematic, and reflective way. They are more likely to use logic to reason out the possible consequences of each action before carrying it out. I think that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, so for the importance, Piaget contributed to psychology in various ways. He provided support for the idea that children think differently from the adult, and his research identified several important milestones in the mental development of children. Last but not least, his work also generated interest in cognitive and developmental psychologies. And for the implication, Piaget's theory helped to underpin play therapy, since it acknowledged that play will help children to construct knowledge and develop their cognitive ability. For instance, in the sensory motor stage, providing children with a treasure basket will expose very young children to a wealth of sensory stimuli. Thank you.